Is Aljamain Sterling finally getting what he deserves? It's a bit of a harsh question, but Aljamain Sterling has been in the news quite a bit with his actions over the Fury BJJ tournament over the New Year's break, and now ESPN has released the card for UFC 300. Not the official card with any new fights on it, but they have released the schedule for UFC 300, and Aljamain Sterling is on the prelims. So with everything that's gone on with Aljamain Sterling's career, his relationship with the fans, how he won his title on his knees, how apparently the pay-per-view with Sean O'Malley sort of bombed or didn't do very well, Aljamain Sterling's chickens finally coming home to roost. That is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. This is going to be really weird for me, to be honest. Like, for Aljamain Sterling's entire UFC championship run, I could not stand the bloke. And maybe it was the same for you. I think it was the same for a lot of Aljamain Sterling fans, not fans, haters, watching him be a champion. It was just, it all started with like the way that he won the championship, yeah, on his knees, faking it like it was something that you would see in international soccer. And he was saying like he didn't want the belt, he didn't deserve the belt, he didn't want to win it this way. But then the very next Monday, he was on Instagram and he was on the internet talking about how he was the real champ and like what a brilliant bantamweight he was and how he totally deserved to be the champion. And it just sort of rubbed me the wrong way. It made it feel so much more dirty and made it look even more fake than it looked on the day when he actually won it. And yeah, since then I have learned that he needed neck surgery after that. So apparently it does seem to legitimize that, yeah, maybe, yeah, Petr Yan did do some damage when he kneed him in the head, but also, a lot of champions win the championship and then go ahead and address surgery because they haven't had time to do it in the accumulating injuries that they get over their career while they're, you know, making their title run. So once they win the belt, they'll often go and get surgery that they need to get. So was the neck surgery because of Petr Yan kneeing him in the head, or was it an accumulation of everything that happened to him while he was trying to become the champion? I don't know, but it's just one of those things that it's like, okay, maybe it's a bit of both, you know? Either way, at the time, I was on the Aljamain Sterling is a dog bandwagon, and that went with me through Sterling's title defenses. In his second one against Yan, I felt like the odds were stacked against Yan because he had his entire team pulled away from him, and now Yan has gone on to absolutely spiral, which sucks. Then he wins that controversial decision over Henry Cejudo, which I felt like Cejudo won, but once again, Sterling goes ahead and wins it on his knees. Like, stand up and fight like a man. How can you like put your hands down, your ass up and call yourself the world champion? It's embarrassing, man. Like, hashtag bring in knees to a grounded opponent. And yeah, that's where I landed with him. But then something started to slowly change during that Sean O'Malley fight week. I found the guy to be very endearing across the whole press conferences for that fight week. It was almost like he knew nobody liked him, but he was okay with himself to put himself out there and just have a go anyway, mate. Kind of like being a small YouTuber. Anyway, but he was okay with people just being like, whatever, I am what I am, you don't like me, and that's fine. And maybe it was the juxtaposition of him next to the human clown, Sean O'Malley, where like Aljo just seemed so real and so raw with the I don't care what you think, mate. And Sean O'Malley does everything he can to portray himself like a teenage Fortnite character. I don't know what it was about that week, but my heart finally started to accept Aljamain Sterling as our champion. And then he didn't throw a single takedown in that fight with Sean O'Malley. Like, he stood there and went shot to shot with Sean O'Malley. The grappler, Aljamain Sterling, stood there and banged it out with Sean O'Malley. And yeah, he got caught. And now here we are. And Aljamain Sterling, he's no longer the champion, but his name has still been in the news quite a bit. I mean, firstly, there was the Sean O'Malley pay-per-view sales didn't go so well. Well, Aljo, I mean, you were the champion on that card, big boy. I mean that figuratively, like you're a little man. I mean big boy figuratively, but you were the champion on that card, and you were being sold to us as the champion that was about to become the bantamweight GOAT, at least on Anthony Smith's paper anyway. But you couldn't pull numbers going into that as becoming the GOAT against the human clown that everyone apparently loves. Like, if you can't pull numbers on that pay-per-view, Aljo, that's on you, dude. And this is the part that really got me. Now the UFC seem to be rewarding Aljo's mediocre pay-per-view performance by moving him to the prelims. The prelims. This is according to ESPN.com for UFC 300. And yeah, nothing's locked in place yet, but so far he is scheduled to be on the prelims. And I've seen some comments about this news where they're like, look, it's UFC 300. It's fine that Aljamain Sterling is on the prelims. UFC 300 is meant to look super stacked. And yeah, that's a great argument if UFC 300 actually is stacked. And at this point, it's starting to look like it's not going to be, unless they nab Diaz or set up Adesanya versus Chimaev. But now Chimaev has been pretty sick lately. Are they going to move O'Malley Vera over from 299 over to 300? UFC 300 so far is looking like it's fine. It's just a fine card. You know, it's being sold to us like it's going to be this blow your dick off good coochie. Yeah, but it is just going to be a fine card. And for a fine pay-per-view, Aljamain Sterling being on the prelims, that's a goddamn disgrace, man. I've read the comments, yeah, Yuri Jakic that's a good fight. Yuri Jakic is a good fight, and Yuri was a champion. Yuri was a champ for pretty much a day. I mean, not literally a day, but it felt like he was a champ for pretty much a day. He never defended the belt. He lost the belt to injury, and then when he fought against Pereira, he fought for the vacant title. And Rakic has been out for ages. He's been out since Yugoslavia was an entire country. He's been out since the Kennedy assassination. This fight is a great fight for MMA fans, but when you compare it next to Aljo has been fairly active. He's coming off 4 or 5 title defenses. He's fighting against Calvin Kattar, and he's scheduled below Yuri Rakic. Look, I'm half Serb. No one's more excited to see Rakic become a champion, but UFC 300, right? I mean, who's got more fans watching, yeah? Calvin the Bostoneer Kattar, or the Serb guy that fought in the UFC a couple of years ago. Yuri versus Rakic should be headlining the prelims if we're going to be building a UFC 300 properly. Aljamain Sterling is getting zero respect from the UFC here. And then there was the Fury fiasco over New Year's. His opponent fought like an absolute coward. The reason that BJJ cops so much trash online, just butt scooting across the mat, letting Aljo mop the mat with him, just rubbing that staph infection all over him. And then the dude who's sitting on his ass the whole time won, and Aljo cried about it and said the rules made it not fun and he wanted to give the audience a show. And all the comments are just trashing Aljo, pointing out this is exactly what you did against Henry Cejudo, man. And I mean, they're right. This is exactly what he did against Henry Cejudo. But another part of my mind is just wow. I mean, here's a guy, he lost the championship because he wanted to stand and bang with Sean O'Malley and give us, the fans, a show. And now he's a prelim fighter behind a guy that's never fought for a belt and a guy that's never defended it when he defended it several times. And Aljo wanted to put on a fun BJJ event for fans of jiu-jitsu. They never get to see anything fun. And I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? He tried to put on a fun event for everyone over New Year's, and he tried to give it a go, and he's just getting abused from the fans again. So is Aljo finally getting his karma for acting like a dominant champ all those years ago against Jan? But when is he going to cop enough hate in the court of public opinion? Are you starting to feel bad for Aljo? It seems like he's in this new phase where he's just trying to make it fun for the fans, and I'm starting to feel bad for the guy, to be honest. Anyway, they're just my 2 thoughts. Let me know yours down in the comments, just like Squizbar did. What a name, mate, Squizbar. Anyway, Squizbar left a comment on how to fix the UFC ranking video. He said, I think 10 spots is too high, Dougie. 5 is more reasonable, and Bilal should be next for the title. As boring as he is the rightful fighter. Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, I was just sort of thinking about it while I was working. If 10 is too much, 5 is too much, I do think there should be some sort of penalty for sitting out for 12 months. We have to stop this ranking squatting. And again, this UFC, WWE era that we're in, I'm super concerned about it, because you can sell hype all you want. They're trying to do it with UFC 300, but if it ends up being a dud, it just kind of feels lackluster. Whereas if they sell us the fights with the fighters that are deserving to have the fights, like Belal, who is boring, but we go into it knowing it's going to be boring. We still love the sport as a whole. So yeah, Belal does deserve it. And yeah, Belal is boring as hell, but if maybe he gives us a great fight, I think it's better to be surprised by a great fight that we expect is going to be boring rather than Colby Covington, who we expect is going to put on a show and is useless. So Squizbar, thank you for the comment. You've been commenting heaps lately. I appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on Aljamain Sterling down there in the comments. And if you are still watching this video, then maybe you've enjoyed it in some way, had a laugh, given you something to think about, different perspective. If you could say thank you by going ahead and hitting that subscribe button, it means so much to small subscribers like myself. I appreciate every single one. Small subscribers. It means so much to small creators like myself. I appreciate every single one, and I will see you all in the next video.